Alright. So this is the tristone I'm starting on course. Using mineral oil. We're going to make sure we get the mineral oil on a fine spread. And then what we're going to do is, depending on how sharp you want your blades to last, you want to sit somewhere between anywhere from a 15 to a 45 degree angle. The important part though is keeping the angle the same on both sides. So for me, I usually shoot for about, I would say it was probably about somewhere between a 30 to 45. 45, you're coming down on it like this, which is great, it gives you a razor sharp edge. The downside is as you cut, it rounds that edge off even faster because your edge is going to be shorter. So I usually go for something that has a little bit longer edge on it. I don't know if we can see it here. Yeah, it's going to be a little hard to focus on it. Come here. So you can see the edge on the gleam of light there. The edge is probably sitting at about a 1/16 of an inch. It's good enough to get me pretty close to a razor sharp while also holding its edge a little longer. And I'll show you how well it cuts here in a second because I haven't cut anything yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to flop it back and forth. And as we go down, we're going to pull that round part into the stone. Now on course, you want to go nice and slow and you want to hold that blade nice and firm to it. When you're putting an edge, the course is for when you're putting an edge on, you want to make sure that you're getting a real nice grit hitting that blade. And you need to reset an edge if no matter how often you sharpen it, it just does not seem to be holding its edge at all and it's rounding out too quickly. You want to go back and start a course. Most of the time, you can just start on medium, or you can start on the fine and just kind of give it a hone in. Right now, I need to hit this blade to its full extent because I've used it enough and that edge has gotten worn down pretty good. Now one question might be like, well, how do I know when it's gotten a nice good course edge? It's something that you can look at and see. Usually after about 10 swipes to each side or 20 swipes to each side. It really doesn't matter as long as you finish on the side you didn't start on. So where I started doing the push across the stone, my last swipe needs to come back to me. Let's say I'm going to take it, kind of wipe it on the towel. And we're going to look at it and you can see that that edge is now a little bit longer. Just a hair, but that's enough to get us a start on our edge. Now once we started our edge, we're going to flip to fine. You can do the same thing. You don't have to push nearly as hard this time, but you want to keep it still firm against the stone. And especially if you're using something like a trim blade, anything that's got a flex to it, don't hurry with it. Make sure you hold it nice and firm and straight. Because if you bend it over it, you're going to have parts of it, you're not going to get a good sharpen on. Yeah, sharpen side too. If I knew a good joke, I'd tell you, but I'm a little brain dead this morning. If your wrist gets tired, just take a break. The last thing you want to do is wear your wrist out to the point you can't hold that angle anymore. Because trust me, getting your edges even back out is a pain in the butt. Now yesterday this thing got to the point where it wouldn't even cut through a damn piece of fat. Which, if you're curious, this is what we call a breaker knife. It's basically a small scimitar. It's great to power through bone sections. It's great to just shear fat right off a cut. It's basically a small scimitar that's not as flexible as a trim knife. Again, just to kind of show you, the edge is starting to kind of come into definition a little bit more now. There we go. And to the same side, you can kind of see it's got about the same length on the other side. So give you a light glare on that. So now with our last one, we're going to go into fine. This one's not going to feel like it's doing much. The fine stone is very, very smooth. Basically what we're doing is we're kind of taking off a little bit of that gradient that we probably applied when going through coarse and into medium. Now I used to not be a fan of the fine side. I never really felt like it did much. I felt like after medium I could just go right into basically using my honer and then cutting. But what I found was I would have burrs that would actually appear a lot quicker.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Not much, just shooting a video to show someone how to sharpen a knife.
Oh yeah.
How's your guys' day going?
Good.
I feel that.
How are you, man?
Oh, not too bad.
Dave here today?
No, he called in sick.
Oh shit.
I know, right?
So Brady, me and him came out a few months ago and did that inventory for you guys.
Yeah.
So Brady's gonna come by, I think, Thursday.
Okay.
'Cause Dave, I guess, called in for more stuff, but
Yeah, it was just like a little out of whack. Like,
I'm pretty sure you're gonna be over now on your inventory, so
that's fine.
this is what we just kind of mental mapped it. So
Well, I think it's also like part of it, between like, small stuff getting off. I've got like larger crew and doing more operations, so it's like I know they're flying through too, and probably just needs to up the inventory anyways.
probably just match what you guys have. It's probably what will happen. So we'll get you taken care of.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you have a good rest of your week.
You too, and sorry for the trouble.
No, you're all good. That's what we're here for.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Now you guys have a good one.
You too?
So now we can see that nice shine on it. And then to the other side, see that nice shine as well. Give me one sec to wash this guy. Alright, let's go to the front cutting table. What's cut here? Let's just go with an eye, easy enough for a demonstration. So this ain't anything special. If you're curious, it's called the eye round. Comes out between the flat and the top round. Any cube stays today for people, and it's a cheap and easy fatless cut to give people for that. It also happens to be the right size to use this blade on it, so you can see. Now, when I was talking about cutting, or what angle you want to use when sharpening your knives, the easiest way, honestly, to find out what kind of angle you like, what angle you cut by. This is not something you ever think about until you're actually using it, because obviously when, if you're just sharpening a chef knife, I recommend anywhere from a 35 to 45, because most of the time you're just going to cut down on it. But if you want to know what angle you want for, say, like a trim knife or a breaker, or what angle you want to use for, say, your chef knife, so that way it always feels sharp, just go try and trim something. So, really when people ask me what angle to sharpen it, it's what angle you feel comfortable trimming. So like say now when I go through this, I can just go right through that fat, which by the way, opponent, you might say, well, I just sharpened it. Well, you still got burrs on your knife. So now, just seamlessly, I can pull through this fat. It literally just pulls the fat right off. Pull that silver off. Oh, it's beautiful. You get that nice flush side to it. Personally, this could probably use a little bit more sharpening, but I didn't want to make that video go 10 minutes for you. However, it is much better than it was yesterday. Like I said, I couldn't even do this yesterday. I couldn't even cut through a piece of meat with this blade because I was so freaking out of it. So, say that. Now I can sit here and just get my keepstakes out. Sweet deal. Sharpening a blade. I'm gonna go sharpen my others now, but now you've at least seen how the stone works. Oh, and by the way, after you use your fine, you're gonna have a shit ton of this residue. If you leave it, it'll sit on here and it'll make it harder for the fine to actually work, because you'll basically have to work this out before your blade will even sharpen. So always pour a little bit more mineral oil on it and just kind of wash it. Kind of go through and just basically try to pull up all that residue the best you can. And how you get it off? Well, just turn it, it'll fall right off. You'll have a nice clean fine stone. You can do that to the other ones, but the other ones aren't as bad. But the fine you definitely want to keep washed.